Why isn't she being promoted, and how did Nike get her at such a reasonable, wasn't it at 22 or 32?
$28 million.
$28 million. She goes, crowds of girls wearing her jerseys. Nike signed her through 8 years.
We all sat here and argued that she should go back to Iowa.
Yeah.
Because she would die and get swallowed up in the WNBA and everybody would stop watching her. That's when Nike struck. I think they got this well before she was showing triple, quadruple the ratings of other WNBA games.
Nike just benched Caitlin Clark's ad campaign. Why? To push Aja Wilson instead. Is this a smart move or a huge mistake? Let's break it down and see why fans are losing their minds over this decision. Caitlin Clark is the new superstar of women's basketball. She's breaking records left and right in college, and everyone's talking about her. You know what's crazy? The number of people watching her games is off the charts. I'm talking millions of viewers. That's way more than most WNBA stars are pulling in right now. But here's where it gets wild. Nike decided to put Aja Wilson in the spotlight instead. Aja's a big deal too, don't get me wrong. She's a WNBA champion and MVP. But why is Nike doing this when Caitlin's popularity is through the roof? That's what's got everyone buzzing. This isn't just about two players, though. It's about the future of women's basketball marketing. We're talking big money, angry fans, and a whole lot of drama. Nike's decision could change everything. Are they making a smart move, or are they fumbling the ball? Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now, back to the video. Speaking of fumbling the ball, let's look at the scoreboard. When we compare viewership stats, the gap between Clark and Wilson is so wide, it's like they're playing different sports. What does this mean for Nike's bottom line? You won't believe the numbers we're talking about here. Caitlin Clark's games are pulling in a whopping 1.8 million viewers. That's insane. Now, Aja Wilson? Her games are getting 461,000 viewers. Don't get me wrong, that's still impressive, but it's not even close to Clark's numbers. This huge difference in viewership is what's got fans all worked up. They're thinking, hey Nike, what's the deal? Are you putting diversity before business? It's a tough question, right? On one hand, we all want to see more representation in sports. But on the other hand, shouldn't companies go where the audience is? Let's talk about what could happen if Nike doesn't jump on the Caitlin Clark train.
Why isn't she being promoted, and how did Nike get her at such a reasonable, wasn't it at 22 or 32?
$28 million.
$28 million. Where she'd finish all first team as a rookie, and who could have predicted her games would average more than 1 million viewers?
We all sat here and argued that she should go back to Iowa.
Yeah.
Because she would die and get swallowed up in the WNBA and everybody would stop watching her. That's when Nike struck.
We're talking potentially leaving millions on the table. That's not just pocket change, folks. It's serious money that could be used to grow women's basketball even more. Imagine this. Clark's popularity keeps skyrocketing, but Nike's not fully on board. What happens then? Other brands might swoop in and steal the spotlight. And let's be real, that could hurt both Nike and women's basketball in the long run. But here's where it gets really interesting. This isn't just about money. It's about growing the sport. If Nike doesn't capitalize on Clark's popularity, we might miss out on a huge opportunity to bring more fans to women's basketball. Think about it. All those new viewers could become lifelong fans, buy merch, attend games. That's how you build a stronger league. Now, I'm not saying Nike's making a mistake. They've been in the game a long time and they know what they're doing, but you've got to wonder if they're missing a golden opportunity here. Could this decision actually slow down the growth of women's basketball? You know what's crazier? This whole situation might change how sports marketing works in the future. If Nike's strategy pays off, we might see more companies focusing on diversity in their campaigns. But if it backfires, we could see a shift back to purely numbers-driven decisions. Now, hold on a second. What if we're all missing the bigger picture here? Nike's not just selling shoes, they're trying to reshape the entire landscape of sports marketing. But at what cost? Are they risking it all on a gamble that could either revolutionize the industry or blow up in their face? Nike's got a tough job on their hands. They're trying to balance diversity and inclusion with making money. It's like trying to shoot a three-pointer while riding a unicycle. Not easy, right? But that's exactly what they're attempting with their DEI initiatives. You see, Nike wants to be more inclusive. They want to represent all kinds of athletes, not just the most popular ones. That's why they're pushing Aja Wilson, even though Caitlin Clark's got those crazy viewership numbers we talked about earlier. It's a bold move and it's got everyone talking. But here's the thing. Some people are calling this corporate malpractice. Can you believe that? They're saying Nike's leaving money on the table by not going all in on Clark. And you know what? They might have a point. If Nike's goal is to make money and grow women's basketball, shouldn't they focus on the player who's bringing in the most viewers? Now, Nike's not just sitting back and taking the heat. They came out swinging by announcing a signature shoe for Aja Wilson. But here's where it gets interesting. Some folks are saying this is just damage control, like Nike's trying to put out a fire with a water gun. Is it too little? Too late? Or is it a smart move to show they're committed to diversity? Let's talk about the long game here. Nike's strategy could change everything about how we market sports. If it works, we might see more companies taking risks on lesser-known athletes. They might start thinking about representation as much as they think about sales numbers. But if it fails, we could see a big shift back to just chasing the most popular players. You know what's wild? This whole situation could actually hurt diversity in sports marketing in the long run. If Nike's gamble doesn't pay off, other companies might get scared. They might think, well, if Nike couldn't make it work, how can we? And that could mean fewer opportunities for diverse athletes in the future. But let's flip the script for a second. What if Nike's onto something here? What if by pushing Wilson and other diverse athletes, they actually grow the fan base for women's basketball? More fans could mean more money, more opportunities, and a stronger league overall. It's a big risk, but the payoff could be huge.
I think they got this well before she was showing triple, quadruple the ratings of other WNBA games.
She goes, crowds of girls wearing her jerseys. Nike signed her through 8 years. I think it was maybe 72 hours. I thought like, hey, this will be over with after college, and said so on this show.
You know what's wild? This whole situation could change the face of women's basketball forever. We're talking career trajectories, fan loyalties, even how brands pick their star players. It's like someone just flipped the WNBA board game upside down and we're all scrambling to figure out the new rules. Let's start with Caitlin Clark. Her shoe release is now pushed back to 2026-297. That's a long time in the sports world. Imagine being the hottest player in college basketball, breaking records left and right, and then having to wait years for your signature shoe. It's like being told to sit on the bench when you're in your prime. This delay could seriously impact her career trajectory and marketability. By 2026, who knows where the WNBA landscape will be? Now, let's talk about Aja Wilson. She's got her signature shoe, but she's also caught in the middle of this controversy. It's like being given a trophy that everyone's arguing about. On one hand, she's getting a huge push from Nike. That's major for any athlete. But on the other hand, some fans are questioning if she deserves this spotlight over Clark. It's a tough position to be in, and it could affect her public image and brand association. And the fans? They're divided. Some are thrilled to see Aja Wilson getting her due. Others are furious that Caitlin Clark is being sidelined. It's like watching a heated debate play out in real time on social media. This split could change how fans support players and even how they view Nike. Some might stick with their favorite players no matter what, while others might boycott brands they feel are making unfair decisions. But here's where it gets really interesting. This whole situation could reshape how athletes and brands work together in women's sports. We're seeing a clash between diversity initiatives and commercial success. Nike's trying to balance being inclusive with making smart business moves. It's like trying to shoot a three-pointer while riding a unicycle. Not easy. This controversy might make other brands think twice about how they choose their athletes. Do they go for the most popular player? Or do they focus on diversity? It's a tough call, and how Nike handles this could set the tone for future endorsements in the WNBA and beyond. And let's not forget about the league itself. The WNBA is still growing its audience. This kind of drama could either bring more attention to the league or turn some fans away. It's like walking a tightrope. Exciting, but one wrong move could be costly. All right, let's wrap this up and talk about what Nike's decision means for the future of sports marketing. This whole situation is like a game-changing play that nobody saw coming. Nike's trying to balance diversity with making money, and it's not easy. They're pushing Aja Wilson even though Caitlin Clark's popularity is through the roof. It's a risky move that could change everything about how we market sports. If it works, we might see more companies taking chances on lesser-known athletes. But if it backfires, we could see a big shift back to just chasing the most popular players. It's like Nike's playing a high-stakes game of basketball with the future of sports marketing. So what do you think? Should Nike focus on the most popular players or keep pushing for diversity? Let me know in the comments.